Hey everyone, welcome back to Garnock Reviews. For today you join me on board Peaceful, a year 2000 Huckins Atlantic 44. At the time of shooting this video, she was up for sale in Jacksonville, Florida for $235,000. And this one gives you the blend of the Huckins classic yacht design inside and out, but she is built with a fiberglass composite core construction from the keel to the cabin top, helping to keep that maintenance at a minimum, but she still allows you to reach a top speed of 26 knots with only a 3 degrees of bow rise. And although this one's primarily fiberglass construction, I love all the wooden accents that's on here. Some of it is purely cosmetic, but there are also some that's very functional, including the handholds that run the length of the coach roof. And I like that the bow is as accessible. You get the wide decks, but you've also got plenty of room up here to lay out and relax. You can also use the bow as an area for doing some fishing. And then for those more focused in cruising, the bow's also got access to the electric windlass. The owners have recently upgraded the chain on this one, so there's approximately 250 feet of brand new chain attached to that Danforth anchor. And the anchor locker is so deep up here, not only is it perfect for the anchor chain, but you could also put some bow fenders and mooring lines up here as well. And as I pan round, this one's got a very low air draft. The mast height is 14 feet 5 inches, but if dropped, not only is this ideal for cruising under bridges, but it also means that the yacht is fully road transportable as well. So if you're looking at buying this boat and you're not near Jacksonville, or you're looking at transporting this to new cruising grounds, this is certainly a serious option to consider. She's 44 feet 10 inches in length, she's got a beam of 13 feet 9 inches, and she's got a maximum draft of 3 feet 6 inches. She's got a dry weight of 23,000 pounds. As I walk around the deck, you notice the boat doesn't move. She's absolutely solid. And one of the main design features of this yacht is that aft cockpit. You've got that large overhang from the hardtop. You could easily fully enclose this cockpit if you wanted to. You've got spacious seating for 5 adults. And you'll notice we've also got areas in here that's ideal for fishing. You've got that extended bathing platform, and you've obviously got the tender mounted on the back. This is a very family friendly boat. There's always handholds, there's always safety in mind. And there's so much space when you're walking around, you never feel like you're about to bump into something. And I like how comfortable these chairs are that's in the open aft cockpit, but I also like the fact that these can be moved and they can also be removed completely, so it all depends on what activities you want to do. If you want to do some fishing, if you want to do some entertainment with a large group of people, or if you just want to have a small group, you can mix up that design to accommodate. And up overhead you'll notice that we've got lights built into this, so this would be an ideal place to relax, whether it's during the day or into the evening. And just as you enter the aft cockpit, there's a large hatch that opens up, and this has got steps down that leads to the lazarette. And down here you have got a ton of storage space. You've got the oars for the tender, you've got access to the exhaust, you've got access to all the steering mechanism. There's extra ropes and fenders down here, but this is leading into the main bilges of the yacht. And look at how dry the bilges are. This is an extremely well maintained example, bearing in mind this yacht's over 20 years old. Nothing on board looks that way. There's a number of spares that's included with this yacht, and that includes a spare set of props. And then as we make our way into the pilot house, I like the fact that this one is fully enclosed and it's also air conditioned. There's a great amount of headroom in here, there's a great amount of natural light and visibility. There's very few blind spots even when standing at the wheel. You've got a great setup with a co-pilot on the port hand side, plenty of room up here for your navigation charts. As you see, this one's enjoyed time in both the Florida Keys and the Bahamas. There's even access over on this side to the VHF radio. That way you can help call up the different marinas or the bridges, get some guidance and clearance. And although the wheelhouse is fully enclosed, you'll notice that both the port hand side and the starboard side windows, those open at the touch of a button. And the window next to the helm also slides open as well, both for ventilation but easy communication to those on the deck. And in terms of electronics, we've got the standard Horizon VHF, we've got a Garmin GPS plotter, we've got an iPad that's running in the Aquamap software, and that plotter's been hooked up to the new Garmin radar, and it's also got the depth sounder interface to it as well. We then have the Simrad autopilot. And I like the fact that as much as this is air conditioned, you've actually got controls to the AC, because this has got a separate unit from the rest of the yacht. And while I stand here, I want to point out just how soft the seats are at the helm. I could easily sit on here for hours on end. You'll find more storage underneath the helm seat. And then of course we've got the tank gauges mounted underneath the wheel too. So this one's got 410 gallons of fuel, 100 gallons of fresh water, and 28 gallons of holding tank capacity. And I love the traditional ship's wheel that's been mounted on this one. As I say, this is a mixture of modern technology, but still holding on to that classic heritage and design. Then it's only a couple of short steps down into the main saloon. Again, I love the woodwork finish that's in here. I also like how bright and airy it feels in here. Now this yacht is currently on undercover storage, so it's a little limited, but you can see just the wide array of windows that's on offer here. We've got some nice nautical decorative touches to this one. And the seating you see on the starboard side, that actually pulls out almost like a sofa bed, and that way you've got an extra double berth here as well. That cockpit table in the middle is a high-low design, so that way you can raise it as well as keeping it as it currently is. And then at the bottom of the steps there's also a great storage area that's ideal for putting in the essential paperwork, something that's close anytime you want to grab it in a hurry. And underneath the steps there's more storage as well as more access to the bilges. And speaking of storage, Huckins did a great job with this yacht. If you're looking at using this for extended cruising, this is the one for you, because there's storage everywhere. And then on the port side, behind one of these seats, if I open up the doors, you'll see that this is also where you're going to have access to all your breaker panels, your AC and your DC controls, and your generator controls. And I like the fact it's as accessible, but it's also hidden and out of the way, so it's not always the smartest appearance looking thing, but it's always there when you need it. Then again, as I pan the camera around, you'll see we've got things like the clock, the barometer, nice artwork and decorative touches. On the port side there's a great area for serving up food and drink. And then on starboard there's a storage area, but this would easily be converted into a drinks cabinet if you wanted it to be. And then again, as we move forward, it's just a couple of steps down to the galley, and this is another area that's benefited from investment over the years. This one's got a U-shaped Korean countertop. It's got the stainless steel sink. It's got a built-in microwave with convection oven. There's a lot of storage. You've got your 2-burner electric Saran cooktop. It's got a new fridge. And there's a great amount of headroom here, so you don't feel hemmed in whenever you're down here and when you're preparing your favourite meals. And I was impressed with all the storage lockers, drawers and cabinets that's in here. When you open and close the doors, you don't feel them flex, you don't feel any misalignment or anything like that. If you told me this boat was only a couple of years old, I'd believe you. I also like the fact that they've got a great locking mechanism. Sometimes it's magnetic, sometimes it's used to pull pins, but these doors and drawers, they're not going to open up on their own while the boat's underway, or if you are ever road transporting the boat either. So there's multiple air conditioning units on board. There's a 16,000 BTU unit for the saloon, there's one for the helm station, and there's a 9,000 BTU for the forward stateroom and head. The head compartment's on the starboard side, opposite the galley. I like the fact that the toilet and the shower is separate. You get plenty of storage in here for your toiletries and personal belongings. And you've got great headroom where you can actually enjoy using that shower. That's not something you're going to hear me say in every boat of this size, because sometimes the shower compartments are so small, it's almost pointless having them on board. As I make my way through to the forward stateroom, you can see that all the new interior paint, all the soft goods, even the custom bed covers have all benefited from being upgraded and refitted in the past couple of years. And in the forward stateroom you see we've got the V-berth configuration. And this is reversed from most of the Huckins Atlantic 44 lineup, and that way you've actually got more headroom when you're laying on the bunk. And then underneath those bunks, not only do you have storage, but I was impressed with the size of the storage drawers, pretty much the full width of the bunk itself. And there's multiple drawers on both sides. And again, there's even full standing headroom this far forward in the yacht. And then at the front of this cabin, there's an area here that's ideal for storage, but you could easily put a small TV or even a laptop up there if you wanted to enjoy watching a movie. And then if you open that door, you'll see that the entire front section has a full hanging locker space. It's all cedar lined and it's also illuminated in here. Again, making this ideal for those that want to do some extended cruising and some liveaboard use. The woodwork throughout is just something you don't normally see in a boat of this size. It's so well detailed, presented in excellent condition, and feels absolutely solid. Huckins also utilised every space he could to make additional storage, including at the end of both the bunks on the starboard and port hand side. And then we'll head back through the yacht and take you to the engine compartment. As I do so, take a note of the deck as I'm walking through here for the fit and finish, but also you'll see there's more access to storage and to the bilges itself. Access to the engines, however, is just next to the helm seat. And this is a yacht that's designed to cruise at 22 knots. It's got a maximum speed of 26 knots. And she's currently got less than 1600 hours on the clock. And those engines are a pair of Cummins. They're 6B TA5 engines. They're approximately 370 horsepower each. These are direct drive engines. You've got easy access to all your day-to-day servicing components, all your oil and water separators, things like that. Sitting between the engines is a 6 kilowatt Northern Lights generator. That generator's got less than 400 hours on the clock. We've also got new 90 amp alternators. And as part of the recent maintenance, we've got new raw water pumps on the main engines. The props have been removed and tuned with new hydraulic steering rams. And this one's ready for your sea trial and inspection. But again, as I mentioned in the lazarette, as I pan round the engine room, look how clean the engine room is. No signs of any leaks at all, whether that's oil, fuel, water. This is an extremely well maintained example with low hours. And today's market offers extremely good value for money. I'd like to thank Huckins Yachts for the opportunity to come on board, take a look at this one and share the video with you. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. If you can leave a comment down below. If you haven't done so already, if you can hit that like and subscribe button, it really does make a difference. I'll look forward to catching you on the next one. Thanks everyone.